Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this second session for SSC CGL refresher series. Let's see who is with us. So I have Sukumar, Abhirami, Kritika, Hitesh, Prashanti, Neeraj, Nirmal, Mahata, Akash, Sneha, Kritika, Kinom, Yashashwini. Okay, names are repeating. Who's this? Ganeshwar Rao. Okay. Amit and Vidya, and now I should be visible. Yashashwini, Prashanti, and okay. Okay, Deepak, Venkat, Vidya. Anybody is new? If today is your first session, please let me know. Ganeshwar Rao, Mintu, Arjit, Isha. Yes. Isha. Manu. Hi Nilesh. Okay, Sarika and Akansha. So if anybody is new, you've joined us recently in the last 1 week, because I think the last session we had was over the weekend, right? Or maybe last week. Okay, Sukumar, it's your first class. Ilan Tamilan also is new. Yashveer, it's your first class. Mamta, it's your first class. Okay. Hi, welcome. Sai, it's your first class. We already have another Sai. Hi, GV. Manu, it's your first session. Welcome. I needed just like some motivational words to start with, please. How's going prep? Okay. Motivation, huh? There's no other motivation like self-motivation. That's the motivation that I have for today. Of course, externally we need some sort of a direction and push, but the best output is when you are self-motivated, right? When you push yourself to achieve something, already half won, the battle is half won. So yes. Hi Darshan and Abhirami. Who's that? Prahaladin. It's your first class. Yeah. I'm good, Rashmi. How are you? I used to have a PG mate in Bangalore by the name Rashmi. Okay, so first things first, before we get started, we know why we are here. The focus is SSC CGL. So obviously, we already had our first session. Those of you who missed it, you can always go watch the archive, right? It'll be available in live sessions, so you haven't missed anything. Last session, we went through a whole question paper, and then based on a couple of your requests, right? You said, let's focus on some question types specifically, because predominantly, we have others also in part of this session, just to get a feel of the English language and practice. Not necessarily that they are applying or writing for SSC CGL, so they felt that the questions were relatively easier. Of course, when you compare it to SBI PO, it is going to be easier. But the objective being, we focus on a couple of question types, per session. So for today's session, we're going to focus on, based on your request again, we're going to focus on spot the error, another variation to its sentence improvement, and we're going to focus on idioms and phrases, right? And then we'll divide the question types accordingly for the remaining sessions that we have for SSC CGL. But before we get started with the session today, just wanted to take a minute and apologize to all of you for the AIM problem that happened this week, right? Most of you came back, you've been able to identify or spot a lot of errors. and there was a reason for it. The reason being there was a mismatch in the answer key, the solution key. So obviously, you would have come across a lot of errors, right? So in almost all the subjects, quant reasoning, English, general awareness. So I mean, from Talent Sprint, on behalf of Talent Sprint, we wanted to apologize. It is a one-off thing. It happened, on a large scale this time, and don't worry, we're trying to rectify it. We're trying to correct it. I mean, yes, the reports have gone out. We won't be able to make any changes on that front, but however, just letting you know that, this is an error that happened from our end, and I wanted to take time and apologize for that. So, yeah, just putting it out there. So in case, you have, yes, Anuba, yes, for SSC. So if you've taken the AIM, a lot of you have come back and escalated a lot of errors, and we are aware of it because it was, an error from our end in terms of the solution mismatch. There was a mismatch in the solution. So just letting you guys know, and we definitely, something like this will not happen again, right? Just wanted you guys to know. Okay, so keep this in mind, and those of you who are new, I'll probably take you guys through, just the platform, just for you to get an understanding. What are some of the things that you can focus on with respect to the English language? At least, close to 10 of you are new. This is your first session, so we'll look at that. Okay. Don't worry about it, Anuba. Like I said, it's not your fault. It's a technical thingy. It's an error from our end, so you don't have to worry about it. Yes, Mahata. That's what I'm trying to explain. There was a mismatch in the solution. That's why you would have found almost all the answers incorrect, right? Yeah. Okay. So now that we've cleared that, let's focus in today's session. So, like I said, for those of you who are new, we've already completed one session for SSC CGL last week, and we looked at one whole question paper, right? So today, like I said, we're going to be focusing on 3 question types, and in successive classes, we'll focus on whatever question types we have left to complete. So today, we're going to focus on spot the error. Yeah. Venkatesh, I'll answer your question in just a minute. Spot the error, sentence improvement, and idioms and phrases, okay? I'm good, AJ. So, will the results come again? We are working on that. We'll keep you updated. Just wait for an email from us. We will communicate to you what the next steps are through an email, right? So, you will receive communication from us. It's okay, Sneha. I mean, it's not bad. So, shall we get started? Thanks for asking, though. I mean, hope you guys had a good weekend otherwise, and hope your preparation is not just limiting to these sessions, and you're preparing otherwise also. Yeah? So, I'm going to move to the presentation. Any questions, feel free to stop me at that time, and we'll look at each question. The best part about these sessions, I personally feel, is I'm sure you learn some new concept or the other, right? Whether it is a difference between this word or that word, or some sort of a collocation. Oh, okay, this word usually gets associated with this word. Whatever it is, there is always learning through these sessions. So I would encourage all of you to definitely, if you can, right? I know a lot of you are unable to make it because the timing is not favorable for you. But at least for those who are here, make the most of it. Contribute and actively participate, which you guys anyways always do. So I don't have, I'm not complaining on that part. So let's get started, yeah? So the first question, of course, it's spot the error. Sooner had he come, his colleagues organized a get-together. As soon as you read this, where do you think the error is? Can everybody see the screen? Okay, Nayan is saying part 2. Amit and Sarika is saying part C. Okay, most of you are coming back and saying part C. Revati Sharma also says part C. So the question is, how do we look at this sentence and how do we make sense of the sentence? Logically, is the meaning correct? Hi, Dilip. So Nandini says A, Isha says A. So basically, I'm getting a whole load of answers saying all the parts, right? I have A, B, and C. Okay, so let's look at it. Sooner had he come, his colleagues organized a get-together. So we'll move backwards, okay? So most of you who, let me just change the color, 1 second. Okay, we'll go with this color for a difference, for a change. Somebody organized a get-together, okay? Who is that? His colleagues. So who is his? He's here. So in part A, sooner had he come, is that the, Yashvi, that's not a ringtone, that's a message tone. Let me put that kind of alerted me to put my phone on silent. Anyway, so you guys can hear everything, huh? Just give me a second. Okay, you heard that, didn't you? Yes, Manas, too much. That was a gift. I got that as a gift. Okay, we are deviating. So, how do you put this? What are some of the ways in which you can say? So, Sneka says, no sooner had he come, his colleagues organized a get-together. Or a more simple way of saying it is what? As soon as this guy came, right? As soon as he came. As soon as he came, his colleagues organized a get-together. So, either ways, the error is in part A, right? Sooner had he come. No sooner, yeah, that's also. So there's nothing wrong with part B and part C. For those of you who said part B and part C, I'd like to understand why you felt those parts were an error. From my husband, Manas. So why did you feel that part B and part C had an error? Initially a lot of you came back and said no, part B, part C. Why? Prashanti, why did you feel part B had an error? Ankita, why did you feel part C had an error? Huh? Yeah, that's why I would probably not use no sooner, because you need that particular no sooner, then and hardly when. Yeah, exactly. So because that's not there, the best option would be as soon as he came. Correct, Nayan, you're right. No sooner construction will not come in line because I don't have a then. So nobody's coming back and telling me why B and C you thought was an error. So are you convinced now that A only is the part that has the error? So we can move forward, because I wanted to understand why you guys felt part B and part C had an error. Okay, Gayatri is asking for YouTube link. Somebody post it, please. Okay, Deepak has done that. Okay, I'm going to move forward, okay? I'm not getting any answers. So I'm assuming you are convinced that part A is where the error is. Yeah? Next one. I enjoyed during my tenure at Shimla. I enjoyed during my tenure at Shimla. Where is the error? As soon as you read it, you know. Hopefully, that's my guess. So 9 says 1. And 9 is also given the appropriate solution, right? I enjoyed, so this is an unnecessary word in the context. It doesn't make sense. Nandini, why did you say something is wrong with C? Okay, no problem. Fine. So we'll move forward. You just delete during and then you're good to go. So error is in part A. That's the obvious error. My tenure means a period of time, right? My tenure. What's the meaning of tenure? Anybody? Tenure is a time period of anything. Maybe you're holding a particular position there. In this context, it refers to a period or some time limit. Tenure is time period. Yes, that's correct. Nilesh, I've explained this very clearly under basic grammar for reference. In and at. In, at and on. In fact, there's a difference. Watch that, you'll quickly be able to figure that out. The government offered, we're moving on. The government offered him a clerical job, but he turned it over. So, what does this mean here? Where do you think the error is? A, B, C, D. The government offered him a clerical job, but he turned it over. In fact, remind me, Yashveer, towards the end, I will show you the exact video which you guys need to watch to know the difference between in, at and on when I'm taking you through the platform. So your clue being obviously, it's an offer, and because of the antonym hint word, but we know that turnover is a completely different phrasal verb. This guy has probably refused it, right? Or rejected the offer. So turn down is our phrasal verb that we need. Correct. So this is an error pertaining to phrasal verbs, right? We have that. I want you to go through phrasal verbs error. So Prashanti, this is an error. That's why I'm explaining to you. This is an error pertaining to phrasal verbs. Turnover could be, again, one phrasal verb has different meanings, right? Can anybody tell me what a turnover is? What's a turnover? When I say, if I say, my company's turnover this month or this quarter was very less compared to the last quarter. So what am I saying? So turnover can be the amount of money that you make, the profit that you've made in a particular business in a particular period, right? Are you following? Turn down means you refuse or reject something. It can be some, you can refuse someone's invitation, you can reject someone's advice or suggestion, right? Profit, revenue, yes. So I'll just write it here. Profit, revenue, right? So in the context, obviously we're talking about something that this person has rejected. Abhijit, not A. Option A is absolutely fine. In fact, I would say the amount of money taken by a business, right? That would be the more appropriate one. So let's change that, right? I would say money taken. That would be even more appropriate. In a particular period. Right? Whatever. Of course you do, Yashveer. Why not? Turn up can again have different meanings, right? You can turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Turn up can also mean you're arriving somewhere, arrive at some place. Right? Did he turn up? Present, right? Did he turn up for yesterday's session? Did he turn up for yesterday's meeting? Yeah? So Selvi, you got that, and even Vidya and other people are giving you other examples, right? So it's good practice, Prashanti. I'm just assuming you still have to get familiar with phrasal verbs. So there are a lot of phrasal verbs, right? So you need to, and also understand that every phrasal verb has more than one or two meanings. So here the error is in part C. You change turn over to turn down. Okay? Turn up the volume. Yeah, correct. Johnny. Is there another John? Turn up for car directions, Indupriya. That's incorrect. What do you mean turn up for car directions? I'm not following. Okay, although I have never seen the girl before, I recognized her at once from her photograph. Okay, so when you read it, it sounds okay, but if you look specifically, where do you think the error is in this one? I'm waiting. Sorry, I'm getting your things a little late. 1 second. Where did it go? Okay. So I have again multiple answers. I have A, B and C. Okay, let's look at it. Although I have never seen the girl before, I recognized her at once from a photograph. Yeah, so what's the clue word? Okay, there's always, sometimes, you know, in the context, there's always a clue word which kind of makes it even more easier for us to narrow down on the answer. Can anybody identify what the clue word is? Yeah, I have A, B and C. In fact, you've mentioned all the parts. We'll just look at it. Although, okay, somebody is saying at once, then I'm saying never seen, although. See, for example, if you look at those who said part C, yes, Roshni, you're the only one who got the clue word correct, right? The clue word is actually before, and some of you said, let's just get rid of before. It's absolutely fine. That's our clue word, in fact. Okay? Recognized her at once from a photograph. So look at the context, okay? The context is saying he's looking at a picture, right? And then something happened. He recognized her at once. So this also is in past tense verb. The entire context, the base tense is the past tense, right? Although I had, not have, right? Because before again is your clue word. So although I had never seen the girl earlier, before, but I still managed to recognize her at once from her photograph. So he hadn't seen the girl in person, but looking at the photograph, he's probably looked at a photograph of hers. So because of that, he was able to quickly recognize her. Okay? What does although here mean? What meaning is although bringing in here? Even though, right? Even though I didn't see this girl in person, in spite of me not being able to see her in person, I still happen to recognize this girl. Okay? So the error is in part A. Right? Every other part is absolutely fine as it is. I recognized her at once from her photograph. The source from as a preposition is bringing me, where is the source from which this person recognized it? The photograph. This is the source, the photograph, right? So from as a preposition is fine. I recognized her at once, meaning immediately. Even though I haven't seen this girl in person, because I had taken a look at the photograph, I was able to quickly connect the dot. Yeah? So change have to had. I have never seen anything like this, right? So depending on the context, you can go ahead and use the tense accordingly. I have never seen this. Basically, you're talking about past tense and present tense, right? Present perfect tense and past perfect tense. You just need to understand that difference. If you're referring to something, what can I say, which bears relevance to current, now situation, then it makes sense to say have, right? But because of that word before, I'm just going back, okay, just to explain it to Nirmal. Just 30 seconds we'll take, okay? So basically, Nirmal, before is your clue word, which is saying it has no relevance to present. So I cannot use have, because have makes relevance to present tense, right? So it is grammatically correct to use had because of our clue word before. Yeah? Hopefully you got it. So there was a comparison between you and he. You and him, you and him, you and him, no he, it's him. Okay. Ma, I have a quick question. Okay. There's always a doubt, right, for a lot of us between you and I or you and him. So how do I know that, this is what it is every time? So I will give you a okay, fine. All of you got it right. Yes, the error is in part C. You and him only. Okay, that's the right thing. And in fact, between is our clue word again. Between you and him is the right thing. But if I give you this, let me just give you a sentence, okay? I'm just testing your knowledge. So if I say, thanks for inviting my friend and Thanks for inviting my friend and I to lunch. Right? In this sentence, where do you think the error is? Hi, Nikhil. Okay, Manu, object is needed here. What about this sentence? Thanks for inviting my friend and I to lunch. Yeah, so why is that? Why? Why do you have to change that? Isha says I only. Hemant says I only. Okay. So how do you differentiate? How do I know that I is correct or should I replace it with me? How do I know? My question is how. Don't just give me the answer. Tell me why. Object. Darshan. Very good. Right? One of the best ways to do this is always omit the first person. So you will not say thanks for inviting I to lunch. No? Darshan made a good point. So you will say thanks for inviting, not me, but you will say me, not I, right? Thanks for inviting me to lunch. In case, right, you always have a doubt, the best way to do it is omit the first person and then put the sentence and see how it makes sense. Obviously, you will get the right answer. You can be sure with your answer. Yeah? My N is looking like M. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. He flowed into a rage at the very sight of that man. He flowed into a rage at the very sight of that man. He flowed into a rage. What does that mean? Hello? What happened? I'm not getting any responses. Okay, so Vishnu says D. Most of you have come back and said A. Vishnu, why do you think it's D? Yashashwini says part C. Flown. Swati says, hey, change it to flown. Okay, so let's quickly understand this, okay? So everybody has a problem with this verb, right? Flow, flew, flown, right? He flowed into a rage. Now, if you are familiar with the expression, right? Flew into a rage means what actually? There's an expression actually. What does that expression mean? Yes, let me put this in context. My son toppled the dosa batter all over the kitchen slab, and I just flew into a rage, right? Just to put this into context. So from this context, what do you think is the meaning of that expression? Some of you have come back and given the answer, but for those of you who are not able to follow, toppled, you tell me, GV, you use context clues and you tell me what can toppled mean. My son toppled the dosa batter all over the kitchen slab. So toppled can mean what? What can be the only meaning of toppled in this context? So let's say dosa batter is in one container. What could he have done? He's still a baby, right? He's still a toddler, so he can't reach the slab. I'm asking GV to tell me the meaning of toppled. So what can it mean? So in the context, you know that flew into a rage means obviously I'm going to be very angry. Rudra is saying removed from position. Yeah, fly off the handle is another expression that means the same. To put down, to spread, to tumble. Basically, if it's a vessel, what he's done is he's trying to reach it. So obviously the vessel lost its balance, right? And it fell. So toppled means, yes, you could say spilt, or the vessel was thrown down, or something where the vessel lost the balance. He made the vessel to lose the balance and it fell, right? That's what it means. My son toppled the dosa batter all over the kitchen slab and I just flew into a rage, right? Try and always apply context clues when you come across a completely new and unfamiliar word. So the error is in part A. So every time this person looks at this man, he really becomes extremely angry, right? Flew into a rage, not flowed. I'm sorry, this is a wrong, it's not flow, it's actually fly. Fly, flew, flown. Okay, I gave the wrong present, past and past participle for you there. Rage. Rage means anger. Neeraj. Yeah? On being called, all of us entered into the room. On being called, all of us entered into the room. Yes, that's the expression, Manu. Flew into a rage. So some of you are saying part 1, some of you are saying C. So why are you saying? Correct, Yashashwani, that is correct. Past participle usually you will use with perfect tense, no? You don't need a past participle here. He flew into a rage. Yeah, exactly. So, on being called or on being summoned, right? Which is fine. That's again an expression. All of us entered itself means what? To come into or to go into, right? So this into is repetitive in meaning. I don't need again into. So Sarmishta, what you need to remember is, you don't have to unnecessarily change the phrases thinking that it is grammatically incorrect. In spot the error, the idea is to identify the part which has a very, very obvious grammatical error, right? Of course, there is a lot of other ways in which the same expression can be said, right? On being called, we entered the room, or on, which is fine. But all of us is not grammatically incorrect. So you don't have to change be, right? All of us enjoyed our outing last weekend. All of us went to the movie. So you have expressions like that where all of us is an expression that is grammatically correct. So you don't have to change be. Okay? He flew, Abhirami. F-L-E-W. Okay, got it? So error is in part C. you remove into, which is unnecessary, right? So prepositions, I keep saying this. If you looked at my earlier sessions, I say either there are only three types of prepositional error. One is a missing preposition, right? There is a preposition missing, right? The other one is an incorrect preposition. I'll need for instead of by or with instead of something else, right? And the other third one is unnecessary preposition. I don't need a preposition in this context. So in the context here, this is an unnecessary preposition. Okay? I waited for you, but you never turned up. I waited for you, but you never turned up. No, Mahata, enter itself gives you that meaning. So ideally, you should not combine enter with into. So some of you are saying B, some of you are saying C. I waited for you, but you never turned up. So what's, those of you who are saying B, what is the error in B, part B? Those of you who are saying C, what is the error in C? Remember somebody asked us earlier, phrasal verbs, what's the meaning of turn up? Turn up means what? To arrive. We just saw that as one of the meanings, right? So what is the problem with C? It is the right phrasal verb. I waited for you. Indupriya and Chaitanya, what is the problem with B? Please tell me. What is wrong with you never? Now, Indupriya, if I have to put you didn't, will I write turned up or will I write turn up? If I say you didn't, right? Indu, you said the error in part B is you change never to didn't. So if I put didn't, then won't the construction change in part C also? Henna? I waited for you, but you didn't turn up, which means there will be more than two errors. Never is giving me the same meaning, right? Basically what they're saying is, you did not come at all. Are you following? Exactly. So if you change didn't in B, you will have to change again turned up in C. Rather, the construction as it is grammatically correct. I waited for you, but you never turned up. Okay, Mohit, done. So there is actually no error. This sentence is absolutely correct as it is. I will change the ink as per Mohit's request. Shall I go for something darker? Okay, moving forward. Here is something pretty that you can wear on the party. Meenakshi, flow into means the river flows into the sea. There's that meaning, right? But in that question, we were discussing a specific expression. Flew into a rage means getting angry. So that's a completely different expression altogether. So what's wrong with part C? So all of you are come back and saying, there is something prettier. Someone said, part A, change here to there. But why? There is something pretty that you can wear. So basically this is a conversation where somebody's probably identified a nice dress, a nice attire that this person can wear. Person A has identified a nice dress or attire for person B to wear. So which means here is the more appropriate thing. So this is correct, this is wrong. That you can, no problem with B. Where, what's the right preposition? A lot of you came back and said in, a lot of you came back and said for. Any other prepositions, Madhuri? Yes, you are correct. The right preposition is to, right? Usually, you're talking about going to this party, right? So, you're going to be wearing this and going to the party. So, we're talking about movement involved. Every time there is movement involved, the best thing to do is on is an incorrect preposition. That is established, right? You wear to the party. Yes, Abhishek. In fact, if you look at most expressions, let me think of example sentences here. So I can say, I have nothing to wear to the dinner. Right? Here, I'm specifically talking about that particular event, dinner. So that's why you have the, usually meals, you don't use definite article, but when you're referring to something very specific, then yes, I have nothing to wear to the dinner. Or I can say, you can't wear those clothes to work. Those clothes are inappropriate. You know, today's a weekday, it's formal, so what you're wearing is inappropriate. You can't wear those clothes to work. I bought, what did I buy? Let's use to the party only. I bought, I bought a pair of earrings. Earrings to wear to the party. Right? Usually, when you're looking at, going someplace, you're going to be wearing that and going to that place. So usually, whenever there's movement involved, try and stick to to. For always brings in purpose. Right? Here it's only talking about the event and that you'll be going there. Right? The purpose is not very clear. So depending on what you're trying to convey, prepositions also will vary. I have nothing to wear for lunch. I have nothing to wear for dinner. Okay, so error is in part C. Okay, you wear to the party, but can't wear them to the party. Huh? Look at what I'm doing and I do like I do. Look at what I'm doing and do like I do. We have to move a little faster. We still in spot the error. We still have sentence improvement and idioms and phrases to complete. Because, Nitin, to quickly answer your question, why not in the party? Because we're not talking about something happening within the space of the party. We're talking about somebody identifying an attire that this person can wear and go to the party. That's why in is appropriate, right? You always use in as a preposition when you're referring to within a specific area. So we're not talking about something happening in the party. We're talking about the context is referring to something that has been identified that this person can wear and go to the party. Okay. So here, this person is basically asking this person to mirror whatever this person is doing, right? So Roshni, correct. And I don't know anybody else has said the same comment. If that is the case, then the error is in part C. Look at what I'm doing and do not like as I do, right? Do as I do. Okay, but a lot of us talk like this, you know, whatever is there in the expression, look at what I'm doing and do like I do. We conversationally say this, but it's incorrect. Do as I do would be the right expression. So error is in part C. Look at what I'm doing and do what I do. Okay, that's being a little more conversational, which is fine. Okay, so that was spot the error. We're moving on to just a variation of that. Sentence improvement also same thing, right? We have to identify errors. So this is a change of my usual work. This is a change of my usual work. So that's what is highlighted the phrase. We have 4 options: from my usual work, for my usual work, in my usual work, and then no improvement. So what do you think? So mostly for sentence improvement, you know, it will be either expressions or collocations. If you're familiar with, you'll be able to quickly identify the error. Yeah? Where do you think the error is? Sorry, 1, 1. I have a lot of you saying option 1, a couple of you are saying option 3. So it's between 1 and 3. Anybody said anything else different? No, it's only 1 and 3. Okay, let's look at it quickly. So if we look at it, the clue word for us is change itself and usual work, of course, right? So something is being followed, but it's changed from that previous position or previous condition, right? So this is a change not of my usual work, right? From. So I am involved in a specific routine, but now there is a change from that routine or condition or whatever, right? So from, this is a change from my usual work. If you have to use option 3, you will say there is a change in my usual work, right? That will be the expression if you have to use in. So you're saying the change is happening in which area? In whatever my usual work is. That makes sense. For, again, Indupriya, for, I told you for as a preposition brings in purpose, right? The purpose is not very clear in the context. It says, I used to do something, this is my usual routine, but now there is a change from that. Okay, so you can't use for here because the purpose or the intention is not specifically mentioned in the context. There has been a change in my usual work. Maharana Pratap killed many enemy soldiers through his sword. So the given expression is through. The options are by, with and across, and then of course no improvement. Where do you think the error is? Yeah? Hey, I'm sorry, I think I missed some question earlier. Because the comments are really fast, in case you had posted some question, just repost it, okay? I thought I saw some question earlier. Option 2, option 2, option 2. Everybody saying option 2? Unanimous? Should I go up? Did I miss some comments? Okay, Chandra says 1, 1, 1. So it's between 1 and 2, right? So let's quickly look at it. Sword means Amit, seriously? You didn't study history in school? What's a sword? You haven't seen movies? Boss, what is this? Even one normal drama, theatre drama, if it's between, there's war happening and, between kings and soldiers. Yeah, sword is a weapon, right? Now, for those of you who said 1 and with, most of you have said 2, but let's look at, the quick difference. Some of you may not be familiar with what is actually the difference between by and with. So let's quickly look at it. The easy way for you to remember this is pretty simple. I will explain to you probably with Bahubaliya, okay? I will explain to you with some examples. That is what will work always. So let's look at some examples and let's see quickly what actually is the difference between with and by. So if I say, what can I say? Okay. The vegetables were sliced, okay, her new cutting knives, okay. The same thing if I say the vegetables were sliced so now tell me in these two example sentences, where will you use with and where will you use by? I'll give you another example. No, use numbers so I'll know which one you're saying. Okay, so all of you are giving me different answers. Let me clarify this, okay? Whenever you are referring to the object that is used to perform an action, right? If there is an object involved that is performing the action, so Maharana Pratap killed many enemy soldiers through his sword. Now this is your clue. It's an object, right? So whenever there's an object involved, use with her new cutting knives, right? Whenever the subject is the receiver of the verb, meaning what? In this too, the vegetables were sliced. Who sliced the vegetables? She and her mom, right? So when the subject is the receiver of the verb, right, then you use by. The palace was built, object with. The palace was built. Who built the palace? By a famous architect, right? So the idea is, and obviously, every time there's a passive construction, it's easier to use by, without a doubt, right? Because otherwise it won't make logical sense. For example, if I say the project has been approved, the committee, right? In this context, it's a passive construction, right? It's a passive construction. So obviously, usually in passive constructions, we know it has to be by. The committee approved the project. The project has been approved by the committee. So any passive constructions without any problem, you can quickly select by. If it's a passive construction, and if you have options like with and all, right? So this is one way to kind of differentiate. So here we're talking about an object, so with his sword would be the more appropriate one. So Ayushi and Satish and Kiran and, okay, you're giving me the answer for this one. Okay, fine. So just to give you, okay, sorry, there's no place. Let me clear this. I'm going to clear this, okay? Or should I give it some more time for you guys to quickly look at it and then I'll clear it? Okay. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples. If I say, I opened a bottle dash a bottle opener, right? Anytime there is a tool or an instrument used, you will use, what will you use? With. I open the bottle with a bottle opener. Okay? So just to test your knowledge, let's quickly look at a couple of more sentences so you're absolutely clear. Just writing some random examples. Okay, I'm running out of sentences. Thinking of sentences. Okay. Yep, correct. Chandra with object. Actually, the first one, I know a lot of you came back and said with, but keep in mind sometimes, in fact, by is also used with some nouns to say how something is done. And usually, if you don't have any article, right, there's no definite article, or there's no indefinite article or article in front of credit card, which is a noun, you use by. Can I pay by credit card? If I use with is usually followed by an article. Can I pay with a credit card? Can I pay by credit card, right? That's why I put this sentence just for you to know the difference. I always go by. The door was removed with. Okay? Object. Can I pay by credit card? Not can I pay with credit card. If you're using with, you need to use a article. Can I pay for credit card? Can I pay for a credit card? But that doesn't make sense. Anyway. Okay, going forward, so this is the answer for this. Let's move on. Everyone hoped of good weather on the day of the wedding. So there is a clue word in the context. Please identify the clue word and then you know what the answer is. You know what, I think I should do these tidbit videos for you. Difference between so and so, difference between so and so. And make one 3-minute, 4-minute videos. Then it will make more sense for you guys. Let me try and work on that. Name it as grammar bites and do that. So this is, so what's the clue word? Clue word please, from the context. Clue word from the context please. Anybody? Clue word? No. From the context? Yes, thank you, John. The clue word is hope. You always hope for something, right? You don't hope at, you don't hope of, you don't hope. You hope for something. That's the clue. We are hoping for more financial support. They had hoped for a greater pay rise. Hoping for, hoped for. Okay, that's the clue word. How to identify? Pretty easy. See, normally your clue phrases or keywords will be words that answer questions, which is what, where, why, how, when, right? Anything that answers these questions are probably your keywords or keywords. Everyone what? Hoped, right? And in terms of also collocations, so you need to pay attention. If this is the underlined phrase, what's the word before and after, right? That's another keyword for you to see if you can come up with collocations, which are nothing but associated words. And that's how we came up with hope for something as a collocation. So how to identify keywords, clue words means ask questions. Everyone what? Hoped. For what? Good weather. Right? All of these become your key phrases. Nirmal, the question has an object. That's different. I am looking at by followed by nouns and with also followed by nouns. Usually, by does not, or an article is not followed by. It was not passive, Sharmishta. See, look at this. Maharana Pratap killed many enemy soldiers with his sword. How is this passive? Many enemy soldiers were killed by Maharana Pratap. Then it becomes passive, right? Maharana Pratap killed many enemy soldiers is active. Many enemy soldiers were killed by Maharana Pratap is passive. है ना? Next one. His wife is as tall, if not taller than him. His wife is as tall, if not taller than him. As tall, if not is the underlined phrase. What are my options? As tall as, if not, as taller, if not as tall, but as, and then no improvement. What's the answer? Yeah, so as soon as you look at this, you know we need to complete the, what concept is this? Somebody quickly enlighten all of us. What's the concept here in the context? Who's going to give me the answer? Yeah, so what is that concept? Isha, Amit. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Yes, thank you, Yashashwani. Degree of comparison, and we are talking about positive degree of comparison here, right? Right, we know the structure as, adjective as, right, positive degree. Already we have the comparative degree here. So again, choosing a comparative doesn't make sense, which is option 2. The right construction is option 1. His wife is as tall as, if not taller than him. Okay? Easy one. Let's move on. No, this is not comparative. This is positive. Priya. I mean, the first context, the first part of the sentence. Of course, it's comparing the wife and him. The comparative degree is right there after the comma. So there are two parts to it. Basically, it's saying it's his wife is as tall as him. If not, she's either as tall as him or is taller than him, right? Both. This is merged in this context, basically. She's either as tall as him or taller than him, right? That's what the meaning of the context is. So if I divide the parts, I need to make sure that the construction is correct in both. Owing to his respiratory problems, the doctor has told him to refrain from smoking. Owing to his respiratory problems, so what do you think? Do you think there's any error? So everybody coming? That's the whole thing, Sharmishta. Even if it's a passive construction, if there is an object, you will use with and not by. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I explained. Actually, maybe it didn't come out clearly in my explanation. So for this one, everything seems fine, right? Owing to. So as a result of his or due to his respiratory problems, the doctor has told him to refrain from smoking. No error. He is suffering from fever for a week. Is suffering from is the highlighted phrase. Options: was suffering, had suffering, has been suffering. What's the, where do you think the error is? Do you think there is any error in the first place? Is there a clue phrase in the context which is helping us? Why? What is the clue phrase from the context that is helping us arrive at the answer? Yes, exactly. Roshni, correct, right? For a week. That's your clue phrase. So which means the action started sometime in the past and is continuing up till now. So we need a perfect tense. And the only perfect tense is in option 3, has been suffering. So that's our clue. Right? None knows how it was happened. The highlighted thing is happened. I'm guessing even because we have was and has here, this also should be underlined, I'm guessing. Now let's see, do we have to change anything or not? Sorry. Yeah. So some of you are saying 2, some of you are saying 3. For this one, 2 or 3. None knows how. So none is nothing but no one knows how it happened. Because has will bring in the perfect tense context, but in the context we don't have any time reference for that. So the closest version would be option 3. No one knows how it happened. Though to is something that you will hear people conversationally use. Since the context is not giving us any time reference, go with option 3 because that's the most standard one. No one knows how it happened. If you are in doubt, will you lend me few rupees for the taxi fare? The next one. Will you lend me 2 rupees for the taxi fare? Lend me few rupees is the underlined phrase. Option 1 is lend me any rupees, option 2 is lend me a few rupees, option 3 is borrow a few rupees, and then you have no improvement. What do you think is the answer? A few rupees. Why is that so? It's an article rule, right? The article rule is pretty simple. Anything that is, making reference to some amount or a small number, usually you have a lot of these expressions. For example, if, I'll just give you some expressions with the article coming in front, right? A great many, a good deal of, a few, a little. So all of this, when it's referring to a small number or some amount, it's ideal to use a. So lend me a few rupees. A lot of, another one. This is an article rule basically. So instead of saying just lot of people have attended the seminar, you include a lot of people have attended the seminar, in case this is another sentence that you come across as spot the error or sentence improvement. Lend me some amount, lend me a small number, lend me some money, right? The higher you climb a Himalayan peak, more cold you feel. So this is more to do with parallel construction. Where do you think the error is? Make note of the comma, right? So this is one set and this is the second set. So look for parallel construction and then look at the options and you'll be able to immediately identify which part is the error. So the highlighted phrase is more cold. Options are the colder, the most cold, colder. Are you guys still giving me answers for the previous question? Okay. So Nikhil comes back and says no improvement. But because I said there's parallel construction, what's your clue from the first set? Reshmi, Santosh, Isha, Harsha, tell me, what's the clue for the parallel construction? The higher, that's it, right? The higher you climb a Himalayan peak, the colder you feel, right? So you should be familiar with these parallel constructions. Let me give you some examples. The faster you run, the harder it is to catch me. Or the harder you work, the smarter you get, right? So Errors pertaining to parallel construction. No, Sir Mishra, you don't have to. Just type the first few words, 4-5 words of the question. They were all astonished at the team's dramatic success in the competition. Yeah, as soon as they were all astonished at something, which is the team's dramatic success. Where did this happen? What area are they referring to? In the competition. So, no improvement, right? So, this is again an easy one. No, hopefully nobody had anything different. Vimal, why do you say option 3? How can it be option 3, boss? They had been all astonished on the team's dramatic success. Are you sure? On is an incorrect preposition right there. Selva, how can it be option 1? They were astonished at all at the team's dramatic success is grammatically an incorrect structure, right? Probably there was a lot of drama involved in them winning that competition, right? So dramatic here means there was just too much drama. Astonished means what? You tell me, Isha. Surprised, right? They didn't expect it. There's an at there, Selva. If they were astonished at all is the question, right? If I have to write that expression, were astonished at all, I will use it in a context like this. I don't even know if they were astonished in the first place, right? That's the meaning that this is giving, but the context is not giving that meaning. The context is giving that these people were actually surprised. Your clue word is astonished. You can be astonished at something, you can be astonished by something. At the teams, meaning the success belonged to the team, apostrophe S, dramatic is the adjective describing the success. What sort of, the success was very dramatic. What do you mean by that? If you say something was very dramatic, what's the meaning? In the context, what do you think is the meaning? Yeah, there was just too much drama around it. Haven't you heard people say, hey, that's enough, yeah. Why do you have to create such a drama over it? Right? I am not creating these questions, Priya. These are questions from previous year's papers. This is the level at which the questions are in SSC. I wish I can create questions. Yes, that's what they're trying to say, Yashashwini. In the context, they're saying there is too much drama about their success. She is bent to taking revenge against her attacker. Bent to is a highlighted phrase. 1, 2, 3. Bent upon, bent in, bent for. So this is again, bent to, bent on doing something. Means somebody who is very, very persistent, not bent in, sai. The phrase is bent on doing something, right? Which means what? You're very persistent, you're very fixed on something, that, fixed on something, or committed to completing something. Oops. Sorry. He is bent on creating a mess. Right? You guys are bent on clearing phase 1. Of SSC. Oops. Okay. Bent on, bent upon. Okay. So that was sentence improvement. We're moving on to idioms and phrases. Okay, that's our next question type. Bent on doesn't mean to take revenge. You can be bent on taking revenge, right? Which means you're very fixed, you're determined to take revenge. Okay, so be down with. Now, when it comes to idioms, just to quickly let you guys know, one is either you know it or you don't know it. Okay, there are some idioms like that. Some idioms we can apply some logic and figure out the answer. Some idioms we can apply some context clues and figure out the answer, right? Pretty much you need to be, because idioms are very, very tricky. Sometimes, you have to take the literal meaning, but for the most part, it will not be the literal meaning, right? It will be an idiomatic meaning. That's why it's called idioms, idiomatic expression, because the single words in the expression mean something, but if I combine these words, it gives me a completely different meaning. So, be down with. So, if I say, I am coming down with a sore throat, which means what? I am suffering from a sore throat. Context clue, Neeraj, go to vocabulary. Anyway, I'll take you guys through it. Last 5 minutes we'll do that. I'll tell you what is what, since some of you are new and you don't know where to go look for what. I'll tell you what you need to do. Yeah, I'm coming down with a sore throat. Just to give you an example with the context. Be down with. Last question is bent upon. Okay, next one, fair weather friend. So see, here in this context, if you look at the options, everything is saying to down with means something negative only, and all the options are giving me negative only, suffering from, in grief with, in pain with, aching with. So either you know the answer to this or you don't know the answer to it. Fair weather friend. Options: honest only when easy and convenient, truthful only when easy and convenient, supports only when easy and convenient, temporary only when easy and convenient. So the only difference in the options are the adjectives: honest, truthful, supports, temporary. So who's a fair weather friend? Basically a friend who cannot be trusted in times of difficulty. That's what a fair weather friend is. So for example, if I say the moment I met with an accident is when I got to know who my fair weather friends were. Yeah? 3. So a fair weather friend is basically a person whose friendship cannot be relied upon. Especially in difficult times. Right? So for a question like this, again, you either know it or you don't know it. Pull together. So for a question like this, look at our options: become friends, work harmoniously, be successful, live happily. So we can quickly try and apply a little bit of context clues here in this one. You're pulling together something, together being your clue word here. Look at the options and try and see which one do you think is the answer. You'll have to apply them, Neeraj. There is no other way to retain vocabulary. Idioms and phrases is part of vocabulary, right? How will you expand vocabulary? You'll have to either apply them immediately, right? In context, come up with your own example sentences once you know the meaning. There's no other way to do it. Right? So one of your clue words from the options, most of you got it right, is harmony. What's the meaning of harmony? Imagine a music band, right? Imagine a music band. So there are people singing in the band, there are people on the piano, there are people on the drums, there's a guy on the guitar. So all these guys have to work together to produce a beautiful, pleasant melody, right? They should work in harmony. So pulling together, yes, coordination, that's right. So harmony being another clue word, which means you're referring to everything coming together to produce the same effect. So just to put this in context, let's look at an example sentences. If we pull together as a team, we can get this job done on time. So which means what? We have to work together. We have to have the same goal. Coordinate, cooperate, yes. Once in a blue moon. I'm guessing this is an idiom which most of you are familiar with. Very rarely common, predictable, ordinary. Right? So this is a thing that you're very familiar with. So you can just apply logic, right, for this one. Is it something common, that we see a blue moon? No, hardly, rarely, right? So this is a easy one. Let's not spend a lot of time on this. But just to put it in a context, once in a blue moon, it rains here in Chennai, right? Actually, we've been having some rains. But just to put it in a context, okay? So every time idioms and phrases, try and create your own example sentences, it will be easier. Fish out of water. Fish out of water. Again, apply a little bit of logic for this. Talk sensibly. Yashveer, sensible is an adjective, but you're explaining or you're describing to how he talks, right? You need an adverb. So he talks sensibly. How does he talk? Sensibly. Answering the question how, I need an adverb, not the adjective sensible. Okay, fish out of water. This one again, apply a little bit of logic, obviously. Dehydrated. There is no question of dehydrated. Whoever said that. Whoever saying option 1, Priya. Right? Where is the question of dehydrated? The fish will die if it's out of water, right? It is the most uncomfortable position for the fish. Yeah, so just apply a little bit of logic for this, you'll get it right, Shushri. The context is we're talking about a fish and not us. So, but what does it mean? Which means it is a new position, you're not familiar with the environment. So, just to put it in context, I felt like a fish out of water. At my new workplace. Right? Try and create your own example sentences immediately to register meaning. But then again, this is not a very tough idiom. All moonshine. Options are glowing, far from reality, celestial, about the moon. So for an idiom like this, either you know it or you don't know it. Because some of them will come back and say, hey, it could be one. About the moon means what? So let me give you some example sentences for this, okay? So if I say, nonsense, that's just moonshine. I don't believe a word. Or if I say, Raj is my favorite example person. Raj talks much of his wealth, but it is all moonshine. So, what does it mean? Yeah? So from the context that I've given, what do you think is the meaning? Nirmal says, what is the meaning of fishing in troubled waters? Troubled waters is always referring to something that is a very difficult situation, uncomfortable situation, not an ideal situation to be in. But if you're fishing for something is another expression actually. this is a combination of two expressions. Fishing means you're looking for something. So basically, if you're saying you're fishing in troubled waters, means you're placing yourself in a difficult situation. Okay, so coming back to all moonshine can be, you know, different meanings. Total lies, right? Like you can't, it's like unreal. You just can't believe it, right? So the closest one is option 2, far from reality. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Neeraj. That's why it's an idiomatic expression, because it doesn't make sense. You are looking at the literal meaning, but the idiomatic meaning is, I used to be Santosh. I've liked a couple of his movies. Okay, why people in Chennai can't have SRK as their fan? Huh? Too much. So that's just moonshine. I don't believe a word. Raj talks much of his well, but it is all moonshine. So basically something that is far from real or total lies. Okay, call on. Options: telephone, seek help, pay a visit, order. For the longest time, a lot of people didn't understand this particular phrasal verb, call on. Yeah, the sun shines, the moon glows. Right, Rishika. Huh? Snowflake is used when now? Why suddenly that context? Did you see that somewhere? It's a snowflake is a flake of snow. What do you mean, when is it used? I don't think we have experienced snowflakes, at least here down south. Up north, I'm sure. So call on means, yeah. So let's, seems like all of you know what it is. So I'm planning to call on my friend who has been sick. Okay, whatever. So pay a visit. So I'm planning to pay a visit. To add fuel to the fire. So here for this context, yes, Yashashwani. Here for this context, you can apply a little bit of logic. Okay, we need to move faster because I want to take you guys through this one as well. Yeah, so to add fuel to the fire. So here again, the literal meaning expression also is given, but there is a slightly different idiomatic expression as well. See, some of you might get confused. Let me see your answers first for this one, then I'll know. Okay, thankfully nobody said 1. But the last time I remember when we put this as a test, some of them came back and said option 1, prevent fire from dying out. Because Sir Mishta said 1, is it, earlier? Because it is not asking you a question, what happens when you add fuel to the fire? Then you can say prevent fire from dying out. But it's an expression, right? It's an idiomatic expression. So to add fuel to the fire is obviously to make things worse. So think of So shouting at my son while he's crying only adds fuel to the fire. Okay. To take to heart. To be greatly affected, to take something heartily, to strike at the heart out of enjoyment, to suffer from heart disease. Which one is the answer for this? Oh, for last question, is it? Okay, Sarmishta. Yep, good. I like the example side. Right. So give me a context, right? That will be more helpful for others. So don't just say the correct. Santosh, answering your question. Yes. So don't just give me the option. Give me a context, right? That will help others also. So Deepak is saying 2. Some of you say, most of you are saying 1. Some of you are coming back and saying 2. So put it in a context. It will be easier for people to relate to your option. If you're saying, hey, 2 is the answer or 1 is the answer, put it in an example context. We have to finish one question and don't only move, Priya. We can't move without finishing a question. So you have to be a little patient. Don't worry. 8 o'clock means sharp 8 o'clock. We don't have to finish. We will extend as long as you're okay with it. Give me an example sentence. Tanya, thank you for gracing us with your presence. He took that failure to heart, not to the heart, Yashvir. You take something to heart. The expression is to heart. Cut out the definite article the. Again, don't include pronouns and articles in before heart. It changes the meaning of the expression. Right? Stick to this is the expression. Don't change that expression. Don't take criticism to heart. If somebody said something bad about you, don't take it to heart. Right? Don't be affected by it. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is Aravind and GV and everybody else, do not add pronouns like your, articles like the, before heart. It is incorrect. Stick to the expression. There is nothing before heart. See? Yes. He took the marks of his sister to his heart. Huh? Nikunj, rephrase that sentence. What do you mean he took the marks of his sister to his heart? Are you saying that she scored very badly and so he was greatly affected by her poor scores? Is that what you're saying? So you can say he took his sister's poor scores to heart. That makes sense. He took his sister's low scores or poor scores to heart. So he was greatly affected by her performance or whatever. I didn't take that criticism to heart. Good. Let's move on. To bring to light means what? To put on light, to reveal, to bring a light, to arrange light sufficiently. So just apply a little bit of China took India's stand on Dokla issue to heart. Good. So when you try and relate to example sentences, you have registered the meaning automatically. So it's important for you to do that, not just know the answers. So when you come across idiomatic expressions when you're reading something also, you'll quickly be able to connect and understand the meaning, to bring to light. Yes, so give me example sentences. I do not want the answer options. Example sentences. Most of you have brought to light the meaning of this idiom through some example sentences. This crime was brought to light by the investigating officer. Okay. Please bring my mistakes to light. Okay. Okay, the newspaper story brought the problem to light. Okay. Corruption issues were brought to light by ED. SBI brought the light, brought to light. Brought the light of Vijay Mallya. Neeraj, go back and look at your example sentence. SBI brought to light what of Vijay Mallya? Something he did, right? So mention that. Brought the light of Vijay Mallya means what? You guys are being funny. Exam scandals have brought to light what? Sai. Someone throw some light on Kashmir issue, Abhi. Okay. Yeah, Modi ji is trying to bring to light the reasons behind black money or solution to causes of black money, whatever. Yeah? Okay, I think that was the end of it. Now, for those of you who are new, let's quickly, after careful investigation, all the facts of the case were brought to light. Okay. Atish, too much, man. Where are you getting all these examples from? Okay, let me see how I can do this now. I'm going to clear this. Just give me a minute, guys. So we've come to the end. That was 3 question types we discussed, right? Spot the error, sentence improvement, and idioms and phrases. So our next session we'll focus on probably the other question types, which can either be one-word substitutions or synonyms, antonyms, or reading comprehension, whatever is left out. We'll look at that. But letting you know that, our source for the questions, we rely on previous year's question papers. So looking at the past year question papers, this is the level that is coming, which is not obviously a very high difficulty level, which means you can easily score full marks, you know, if you just try a little more harder in terms of practice. So some concepts here and there, if you're clear, right, some basic rules, collocations, you get all that in place, you can easily score and you can easily complete this paper, the entire paper. I have mentioned this earlier as well in my first session. You can complete it well within 12 minutes. Yeah, you shouldn't take more than that. 8 to 12 minutes you can complete it. I wanted to do something, hold on. Okay, I am having trouble. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm having trouble with the transition of the screen slide. Let me try something else. So, because the chats were pretty fast, I may have missed out on some questions, right? So, in case I missed out any of your questions, post it in the forum. We'll take it up in our problem solving session, which we'll have this weekend. We have one on Saturday. I'm just trying and opening the portal. Give me a minute. Yes, please come and help me. Just give me a minute, guys. No. Guys, can you see me? Yeah, okay. Just give me a minute. Hey guys, I'm just going to quickly share the portal, okay? So a couple of questions to address. Okay. So you see this, right? Scroll right down. In English grammar for reference, somebody was asking. Difference between in, at and on. Okay, so when you scroll through, do you see this? So I want you to kind of go through this. So there's a clear videos on each. Go through this because somebody specifically asked that question. I'm mentioning it. Also, a couple of you were clueless in terms of collocations, right? Or context clues. Somebody was asking context clues. नीरज मेरे इंग्लिश सेक्शन का एग्जाम आप दे दो प्लीज. So these are the 4 key concepts which I want you to quickly go through. Okay, one is root words, one is context clues, one is prefixes, suffixes, and the other one is collocation. So go through these 4. These are very, very basic, right? You need to go through these to understand and know, because you will be applying collocations for fill in the blanks, close passage, errors, even finding errors. So it's important for you to do prefixes and suffixes, and root words you will apply in one word substitution, synonyms and antonyms. And context clues again we will apply for fill in the blanks. So please go through this. This is basic, very basic. Okay, I will guide you how to search questions. So basically, if you are in this and if you have a question on any of this, right, you see student discussion, right? So you click on that. Okay, so you see the search option here? In the search option, let's say, let's look at one question. Wait, let me just take a random question. Okay, Neeraj. So let me just type randomly here. If I say I want to know the difference between something. Okay, so it will show up whatever. Whoever's asked difference between whatever, it's all going to come up here, right? So you can go through and see if your question also is the same thing. So ideally you can type 1 or 2. If it's not there, then you go to new post. It's a question. Choose the topic. Maybe you were doing close passage. Write the title. Put your question here and add post. So it gets added here. That's it. Sarmishta? Yeah, so this is the way you will add questions. So a couple of other things that I want you guys to quickly go through is, for example, in Spot the Error, go through this handout, Spot the Error Made Easy handout, okay? It's very useful. Also, go to reference material and go through grammar rules, preposition meaning and usage. Are you following? I'm just highlighting a couple of important things that you have to definitely go through. Okay, everything else based on whatever your, what can I say, challenge area is, you can go accordingly. And follow the today's preparation study plan if you want to stick to a study plan. Okay, all right. So that's about it. I will see you guys in the problem solving session. Post your queries in the forum. Like I said, in case you had posted any question here today and I missed it out, again post it in the forum. Saturday 6, I think by the time you will have one current affairs or general awareness session, right? You should have, and of course you'll have either quant or reasoning as well. Okay, Yashashwini wants some GA tips. Please provide her that. Alright guys, thank you and take care. Bye.